Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of Freeland football. That, of course, is Kevin Townsend. How's it going?
Good, Case. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Good.
I know this is one of the most exciting times of the year. Just a few days until first day of practice starts on Monday. So just what have you guys been up to? How's the summer been going? And
Yeah, the MHSA allows us to do certain numbers of things, and we've taken advantage of doing, everything within the rules that we're allowed to do. So, been lifting. We got a lot of kids that are multi-sport athletes that are in travel baseball and basketball. So we're accommodating those kids, but still offering, opportunities to kids that aren't in those other sports and things. So just been doing our lifting, our speed agility training, join our 7-on-7s and competing whenever we're allowed.
Yeah. So kind of talk about just the excitement of this season, getting after with this group, and kind of recap last year.
Yeah, so last year didn't end the way that I think most people wanted, except for like we say, eight teams won the state championship, so they were pretty happy. But we had a 2-point lead with 10 seconds to go, and got a punt blocked and a walk-off field goal, so left a pretty sour taste in our mouths, and that team then went on and lost the state championship game. So losing the semifinals the year before and the year before that, and having different teams and still competing and getting there. We've got a pretty good squad of seniors that are coming back. We don't have a lot of them, but Sam Talaga is a 3-year starter for us, and Zach DeLue is a 3-year starter on our offensive line. Ty Forner is a 4-year starter. Eli Murphy will be a 2-year starter. So we've got some pretty good kids coming back in an 8-1 JV team that's got some special kids on it as well.
I know you just mentioned a few names, and I was actually getting to my next question. Kind of talk about some of the returners that are going to be coming back for you guys, and some of the names to watch. I know you just mentioned a couple of them.
Yeah, in the past, we've had some pretty good, talented kids with some pretty good high school careers. A few boys, Rubicki twins went up to Michigan Tech, and Andrew Sheffield went to Northwood, and then Ruhlman boys, one at Northwood and one at Alma, and Chase Crook down at Trine, and but Sam Talaga is the talk of not him. I'll tell you that. He, like I say, he's a pretty humble kid, but he ended up with 16 Division I offers, multiple different schools, all the Ivy League schools, West Point and Navy, and his dad's an Air Force retiree, and then all your local schools here of Central, Eastern, Western, Northern Illinois, Toledo. He settled on Harvard, which is a pretty big deal. I've never had a kid commit to a university before the season started. I think that's going to be a good thing for us. Less distractions. But Zach DeLue is probably my most prototypical Division II offensive lineman. We've had some really good offensive linemen come through, but didn't really express the interest at playing at the next level as Zach does. And Eli Murphy, last year was a starting inside linebacker for us, and he's grown and put on a lot of muscle, and he's a really good wrestler. So he's had interests in Siena Heights and Albion. But he may wrestle somewhere too. And then Ty Forner is he was an all-region specialist last year, kick return, punt return, our leading rusher, leading receiver. And he's kind of an electrifying kid. And again, an undersized kid with quickness, but hopefully we'll be playing Saturday somewhere as well. So we've had, like I said, a lot of talented kids in the 18 years I've been here. But this might be the group that sends a few more of them off to college.
Yeah, for sure. Just to have a lot of the experience coming back, and you talk about Sam for a second. Just talk about what he has been, and I know you've had a lot of good kids come through the program. Just talk about just what he's kind of meant to this program the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, as a sophomore, he played quarterback in the youth program, was our starting quarterback there, and we were very fortunate to have a kid named Bryson Huckabee for 4 years at varsity quarterback who's playing basketball down at Anderson University. And, Sam kind of took a backseat to him when Bryson was a junior and played, or when he was a senior and played outside linebacker for us. And then, to move to quarterback last year, did a very good job for us. And then, like I said, to take a back seat this year and move to the running back position. We're more of a running style team. Bryson allowed us to open up the field a little bit more and throw the ball, but Sam's natural forte is to run the football. So instead of us directly snapping it to him and you seeing him with the ball all the time, you'll have to wonder whether he has it or Eli has it or whether Ty has it. And then we've got a couple of sophomores, and Tristan Comer is a 6'7", 220-pound sophomore who just got offered by Miami of Ohio this weekend for football. He's got multiple offers for basketball. And Bryson's younger brother, Wilson Huckabee, is a 6'3" receiver that we have, both sophomores. So you have to worry about them, but I think our strength is running the ball behind a pretty good offensive line. And that's kind of what we're going to do.
Yeah, to be reminded, I forgot you. And if I'm not mistaken, there's an interesting story with, I think, the Huckabees, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're my neighbor. They live 2 houses down from me. So I was actually in my middle son Zachary was in the oldest Huckabee's boy Jackson's wedding on Saturday, and we were down in Indiana for that wedding. But yeah, when the Huckabees moved in, strangely we live on Hardwood Court, and they're a big basketball family. But when they moved in, Mrs. Huckabee teaches in the elementary school, kind of made it a tradition that the boys came down every Thursday at night, usually when I got home from the JV freshman games, and delivered Oreos to our front porch. And so it's kind of comical that Jackson would take one Oreo and Bryson would take one Oreo and Wilson would get 3 because he was the baby and he was really little at the time. So that tradition has carried on. And it's funny that Bryson's your starting quarterback and he's bringing Oreos to the game, to give them with you and still sharing them with you and coming up in the press box. And ironically, we played Claire, and Wilson was a freshman, and we were at Claire, and Bryson showed up in the press box and delivered the double stuffed Oreos and had one with me, and did our tradition. So now I've got the youngest Huckabee boy, and the tradition will carry on with him delivering the Oreos. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's such a cool thing. I actually learned
pretty
that.
cool story.
It is. I learned that when Bryson came on here just a few years ago.
Yeah, that's kind of why you coach, hometown high school football, is to have those bonding experiences with the kids. And like I said, to be invited to his brother's wedding, this weekend when I coached him, many years ago, and somewhere you make an impact in those kids' lives that they still want you to be around after the season's over. So
absolutely. Actually, another coach I was is actually not going to be at a media day, and because he's actually going to one of his former players' weddings, it's like that means more than anything, because
very
that
cool.
shows you've actually made an impact on somebody.
Yeah,
So,
that's why we do it, for sure.
absolutely. So I know the schedule. I know you got a pretty good schedule, and of course it starts. The fun starts at Clare High School. Of course, that's where it starts on the 25th. I'll just run this down
Sure.
real quick. August 31st, it'll be at Saginaw Swan Valley. September 8th at Essexville Garber. At September 15th, first home game of the year at Bridgeport. September 22nd at Alma. September 29th, home against Birch Run. October 6th at Frankenmuth. October 13th, home against Bay City John Glenn. And October 20th, home against Croswell Lexington. So I know pretty good schedule as always, and I know you guys are gonna play Road Warriors for the first 3 games of the year, but kind of talk about starting on the road. I know a lot of the home games are going to be coming in the latter part of the year.
Yeah, when the schedule first came out, we had 4 in a row on the road, and that's kind of a brutal start. And they kind of looked back at some things and switched it around, to help us out a little bit there. But Claire is Coach Spangler's in his 2nd year up there and does a great job.
Yep.
Learning under Kelly Luplo for all those years, and I have a good relationship with Kelly, and so we enjoy playing Claire. We try not to get stuck in the they don't help us, we help them mentality with them being Division 6. For us, it's about playing good football and playing good football teams, and that's what Claire usually does for us in that aspect. And then having to go to Garber. We've had their number for a few years and stuff, and but they've got some special kids. Max Fellows, I was just talking to media day today. Max is probably, in my opinion, one of the best players, if not the best overall player in the conference. Just runs amazing routes and has great hands. And we saw that this summer at 7-on-7. And then Swan Valley, week 2, it's always a rivalry game. It doesn't matter how bad we are, how bad they are, how good one way or the other. That game is always circled week 2, and having to go into hostile territory with one game under your belt, kind of you don't really know what you've got going yet. I know we've usually always played later in the season, and we had they had first and goal last year to tie the game, and we stopped them on 4 plays. They were down to their 3rd string quarterback at that point. So I know they feel like they should have gotten that game, so they'll be gunning for us as always. Like I said, then we got to go to Garber. Bridgeport is our clash for a cure game a little bit later, but we've done it with them before. Keegan Welton is a sophomore for us, who's a pretty special kid, who's worked his butt off in the weight room. His dad is actually the superintendent at Bridgeport School. So and then he goes to Freeland. So they do a really good job of getting their players and community involved. And we raise a lot of money for cancer in there. So that's pretty special. And then, off to Alma. I'm always big, usually way bigger than we are. And so that sometimes can create some problems for you. And then home against Birch Run for homecoming. This will be Birch Run's last year in our conference. They're leaving and going in with like Ovid LC and New Lothrop and stuff like that next year. So that'll be interesting. And Nick does a great job trying to turn that program around there too, getting it back to where they were. And then off to Frankenmuth, which is always the game. It's been the conference title for the last couple of years, and they keep getting the better of us. So that game will be circled for both of us as well. And then we get to come back home, play John Glenn, and then Croswell will be tough. We got down early on them last year, 21-7, and we're able to tie it up right before half. And they have a new head coach and a very special quarterback and a very special running back. So the Division 4 school, we love playing them. John Glenn, Division 4 as well, week 8. So that'll kind of get us hopefully set to see what we're going to face in the playoffs. But with the schedule that we're Division 4. I think we're at 644 kids, and playing in a pretty predominant Division 5 conference. We know there's no room for error, if we want to have a home game. So, we've got our work cut out for us each and every week.
For sure. And of course, Mike Holes is the Croswell Lexington head coach, and he was actually just on here not too long ago.
Okay.
So talk about
bring some pretty winning tradition from DeWitt, and he'll know how to get him fired up. And I think back in his hometown,
he is back in his hometown. So that's a cool story. Also the head coach at Ionia not too long ago. So going into these, you talked about this, how a lot of teams are treating this week is it is kind of a dead period week. It's I know a lot of players are conditioning and all that stuff, and it's also the last chance for you guys to get away or get some stuff done before things really get crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have a weight room. One of my defensive back coach and I go to our weight room and work out there in the morning, and we have had a couple of kids that want to pop in and lift here or there. Most of them don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so that's kind of why we lift before they get up. But they have opportunities. Except we have a sophomore on our team, on our JV team, whose dad owns his own gym, and we do have kids that will go there. And then we have a sports zone here in town. Kids will go lift there. But for me, I got my garage cleaned yesterday and got my office back up into working conditions, and just trying to get some stuff done. Like I said, most of us coaches are going to walk out the door here probably 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and walk back in about 6 o'clock at night. And sometimes it's only high school football, but man, it seems to consume your world once we start. And then you throw, most of us are educators on top of it. It makes for some long days and some long weeks. But you got to have a pretty good companion, and this will be my 28th anniversary, coming up. So she stuck with me through it for quite a while, and you can't do it without her. So
absolutely. It's it also shows why you do this thing in the beginning, because it's ultimately for the kids as always.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So also, what do you want to when practice gets going on Monday? I know there's a lot of things, and I know you can't really do all the things you want to do because, as it's a progression, you go from helmets and you graduate to the shells on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the full pads on Friday. And then what do you want to see out of these the next 2 weeks? And of course, the big scrimmage day on Thursday. What do you want to see out of these next 2 weeks before we head into that first game?
Well, we have 84 kids in our program. We have 31 on the varsity with 4 sophomores and potentially a freshman. We have a really nice freshman on the JV. We've got 27 sophomores on the JV, like I said, plus the 4 up. So, and then we've got 24 freshmen. So, kind of creating some depth at those squads. I know what I'm going to get from my top guys. I got to find my number 12, 13, 14, 15, and so forth down. Again, 84 kids in our program. We ran, I would tell you, consistently 60 in the weight room and summer conditioning. Kids are on vacation, which we love that. We want them to go away. We don't want them going away all summer. But, we're going to have some kids that come in out of shape, and we're going to try to do the best that we can. It's really a crazy sport for the fact that we get 9 days to practice, and then we have to go, full out live against another squad in a scrimmage. And then, 6 days later, you're playing a game. So, with, just conditioning in the summertime, again, hopefully some kids come into shape like we're hoping that we do, and we create some depth. And we've done a lot of, I would tell you, monotonous things since I've been here, and we try to change things and get things different every single year. So I think that's some things that kids are going to see this year. We've really structured that varsity is only going to hit on Tuesdays. It's actually the only day that we will be in full complete pads is Tuesdays. Once our season gets rolling, our freshman JV will be in full pads on Mondays, just to limit to some of the contact, that we are getting, and just work more on fundamentals and drills and consistencies in the tackles. There's enough equipment out there that you can tackle, that we don't need to beat up, each other, and try and stay healthy and get through this marathon of a season.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kevin Townsend, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you guys this season.
Appreciate it, Casey. Thanks, bud.